Let's try that again. Good morning. And good morning to everyone online. Welcome to the Unitarian Church of Evanston. My name is Lynn, Kendall. Whether this is your spiritual home or you are newly discovering this community, we are grateful you are with us. We are an inclusive and welcoming community, seeking truth in love and striving to nurture the human spirit for a world made whole. We are guided by our principles and values, which remind us in every moment and through every challenge that each of us is worthy of love and that we are all connected through the vast and beautiful web of existence. We come together to remember our kinship with one another and to hold one another in heart and mind with tenderness and careful attention. If you are joining us online, there are many links of connection in the description below the YouTube live stream, including the order of service credits, ways to support our mission, and how to join our email newsletter list. If you are in the sanctuary, we encourage you to use the QR code for the digital order of service, or to take one of the large print orders of service. Both are located on the table in the lobby. Hymnals are available right outside the sanctuary door. We also have an inductive loop system for anyone wearing a hearing aid that is equipped with a T-coil. Your hearing aid should automatically connect if you enable the T-coil feature. For those who do not have a T-coil enabled hearing aid, we have receivers that can pick up the loop signal and you can listen through the earphones. And I will personally testify that it really works. A few announcements. Today, immediately following the service, join us for Ornament Sunday. Help us make ornaments to decorate the tree and enjoy a festive potluck of snacks. Our annual Christmas pageant is next Sunday at 10:30. All are welcome in person or on the live stream. We're gathering photos for our Christmas Eve service and our January 1st Fire Communion service. Send photos of babies that have been born since last Christmas Eve to Reverend Eileen. Send photos of you lighting, holding, or extinguishing your home chalice to Reverend Susan. Please send photos by December 19th. We will celebrate Christmas Eve on the 24th at 7:00 p.m. in person and on the live stream. And on Sunday, Christmas Day, we will have a low-tech, in-person only, playful and probably smaller service at 10:30 a.m. here in the sanctuary. There will be no live stream that morning. We will list in the newsletter some options for local online services that you could join. Lots of announcements. The Food and Shelter team is looking for a delegate to the upcoming Interfaith Action Walk for Warmth, which will take place in downtown Evanston on Monday, January 16th, the Martin Luther King Jr. holiday. The goal of this 2-mile walk is to raise awareness and provide support for our neighbors who are homeless or hungry by providing warm and safe spaces as well as sustenance. Please contact Maggie Weiss if you'd like to help out. And now, let us settle into our shared time of reflection, celebration, and inspiration. As we begin our worship service, those joining us online are invited to gather your chalice as we join in beloved community. Welcome to worship.
The Unitarian Church of Evanston resides on the traditional homelands of the Council of Three Fires, the Ojibwe, Odawa, and Potawatomi nations. In 1829, this land was recorded as being transferred from the local Potawatomi community, who had no choice but to sell their land to the U.S. government before being forcefully removed west of the Mississippi River. This land was then sold to white settlers. The Chicagoland area is now home to one of the largest and most diverse urban Native communities in the U.S. The acknowledgement of this land's history is one small effort toward building long-term solidarity with contemporary Indigenous communities. We name these realities with honor for all the ancestors, respect for our descendants, and gratitude for the land we use as sacred space. Please visit our website under Land Acknowledgement to learn more about how we can deepen our relationships.
As Tori lights our chalice, symbol of our living tradition, please join in saying the words on the screen by Reverend Dr. David Breeden. We light this flame, reminding ourselves to treasure the magic in the mundane, the wonders of carbon dioxide, oxygen, nitrogen, rapid oxidation into light, heat, and the dance of a flame. Light this chalice, kindling, remembering our innate sense of wonder at the very real magic of our world. Please rise in body or spirit and join in saying the words of our covenant. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Before we sing our opening hymn, let's turn to one another briefly to say good morning. For those of you participating from home, please greet one another in the chat if you haven't done so already. Are you going to ring? Okay. And please, thank you. And please stay after the service and continue your conversations with folks you don't know very well. Let's keep building kinship among us. You may remain uplifted as we sing hymn number 225, O Come, Emmanuel, verses 1, 2, 3, with a trumpet.
going to ask everybody, this is such a popular service. So if you have a chair or two next to you, will you raise your hand? We got people that are trying to find a spot. Good.
There's a few up here, too.
And if you're like, there's seats next to you, get cozy with one another and scooch next to each other and move forward. Feel free to move around because we want to make sure there's room for everybody. Thanks.
Yeah, this is a time to welcome people in, right? So, all right. Well, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
So, of course, today is Music Sunday, as you obviously know. And it's Christmas time for those who celebrate. And this is a time when, believe it or not, there's some UU trivia. Yes. There are carols that were written by Unitarians, right? Like Jingle Bells. I heard the bells on Christmas Day, and it came upon a midnight clear. So we have some history in this holiday. But today, my story is about the Christmas tree. Who here has a Christmas tree at home? Quite a few, sweet. And today, of course, we'll be decorating one right here. Yay, yay, yay. But this is a Unitarian connection. Story goes like this. Once upon a time, there was a Unitarian minister. And no, it wasn't Reverend Eileen or Reverend Susan. This minister lived a long time ago, and his name was Charles Paula. And he came from Germany before he immigrated to the United States. And maybe some of you have family that have come from Germany. I did. Well, he missed his old country, especially at Christmas time, and something was just missing from the Christmas celebration. So he thought and thought about what it was that was different about Christmas in the United States. One day he was strolling down a lane surrounded by a pine forest, and suddenly his face lit up. He knew exactly what was missing. Guess what it was? A tree, yes. So when he got back home, he spoke to the cook and asked her to carefully crack the eggs open that she used for cooking, and he rinsed them and he saved them. And I'd never heard of this before. He then bought candles and candle holders and bonbons and mints and sugar and bright colored paper and little dolls and figures. And he filled these egg cups with these little things. I would love to see that. He spent many hours preparing this surprise. He painted the egg cups with gold and filled them with the sweets and cut out fancy paper shapes with the paper. And then he went out the day before Christmas with a shovel and a tub. And you know what he did, right? He dug up a tree. Yes, very carefully. He didn't want to damage the roots. He put the tree in the tub and surrounded the base with moss and brought it home. But while no one was looking, he put it in his parlor, closed the doors, wouldn't let anybody in. And all day long he prepared this tree. He filled the branches with surprises. He had remembered how his father loved to watch his kids' faces as they caught sight of the tree for the first time. The surprise, the happiness, the glow on their faces, that was Christmas. And that evening, which was Christmas Eve, of course, Reverend Fallon and Mrs. Fallon gathered the children outside the parlor doors and lit the candles. And then the doors opened, and the children were like, wow. Can you just imagine those doors opening, and there's this tree with candles lit up, and all their little trinkets on it. So year after year, Reverend Fallon and Mrs. Fallon prepared the tree for their family, and of course some guests. And then pretty soon, other families started doing the same thing. And the idea caught on. And so today, look how many of us have a tree we decorate in our house. all due to a Unitarian minister, just so he could see the sparkle in his kids' eyes and the joy of Christmas. And today, we will get to decorate our tree here. So I hope you stay and join us.
Kathy, did we want to invite kids to, while we sing, deck the halls? We're going to have the kids help us with the
Yes,
boughs.
it's deck the halls. I didn't realize it was so
Yes.
soon.
Yes,
So, yes, we're
happening.
going to deck the hall. I just heard, Vickie, please clarify, that the song is really deck the hall, not deck the halls. I learned something new this week. So, yes, we're going to deck the halls. You guys want to help deck the hall?
While we sing,
While we sing.
hymn number 235, Deck the Hall.
This poem is Nest by Jeffrey Harrison. It wasn't until we got the Christmas tree into the house and up on the stand that our daughter discovered a small bird's nest tucked away among its needled branches. Amazing that the nest had made it all the way from Nova Scotia on a truck mashed together with hundreds of other trees without being dislodged or crushed. And now it made the tree feel wilder, a balsam fir growing in our living room, as though at any moment a bird might flutter through the house and return to the nest. And yet, because we'd brought the tree indoors, we'd turned the nest into the first ornament. So we've wound the tree with strings of lights, draped it with strands of red beads, and added the other ornaments, then dropped 2 small brass bells into the nest like eggs containing music, and hung a painted goldfinch from the branch above as if to keep them warm.
What a festive Sunday. This is the time in our service when we make space for the joys and sorrows of all those gathered here in this sanctuary and those of us joining online. We do this to honor the struggles and the triumphs, the brokenness and wholeness that is woven into the human condition. If you have a joy or a sorrow that you would like spoken aloud before this congregation, you can write it in our book found at the back table by the doors. You can send me an email or you can fill out our online Google form on the homepage of our website. These are the joys and sorrows that have been shared with us for today. From Maggie Weiss, a joy and a thanks to the committed team of volunteers who brought us another successful mitten tree weekend on Friday and Saturday. This is our annual holiday giving program that has been around for probably 30 years. Someone will correct me if I'm wrong. Deliveries continue so that we'll have a full report soon. For now, we'd like to thank Bridget Wild, our fearless leader and logistics expert. As well as the many UCE elves for their time and generous contributions. Thank you so much. From Will and Jonna Van Dyke, Jerry Galick is smiling somewhere with the Croatian team's win in the World Cup. And I'm sure because of the beautiful trumpet playing as well. Yes. Yes. Got a few more from Ellie Fedderson. Joy, AKA tenor in the choir today, is thrilled to be singing with her favorite choristers. She's also delighted that her husband, Tim, and child, Nia, are in the audience. From Joyce Lofstrom, a joy and a sorrow. My joy is a thank you to Carol Nielsen and Karen Courtwright for their wonderful lessons on quilt making. I did not inherit my mom's seamstress genes, but the 3 sessions I spent with Carol and Karen as teachers and Chris Yu and her daughter Cece as students were fun and enlightening. And I have a quilt to show for it from the auction item purchased in 2021. And Joyce's sorrow is the loss of her lovely dog, Olive. She had aggressive mast cell cancer and had to say goodbye to her a week ago. Well, it was the right thing to do for Olive. Our house is so quiet now without her welcome home barking and, well, a lot of other barking. She was 6.5 years old and a black lab mix we rescued at 3 months. So sorry about that, Joyce. This is the sacred space that we tend to our sacred offerings, and it is part of the practice of beloved community. Together we expand our celebrations and we lessen the burden of our grief. You are invited now to come forward. If you have a joy or a sorrow on your heart that you would like to light a candle for, please come forward now. And I don't see Reverend Susan, but if I can get 2 people to help with the candles, and if you would like a candle brought to you, please raise your hand and we'll bring you a basket. Let us say together, for these joys we give our thanks, for these sorrows we give our love. Please join me in the spirit of prayer and meditation. Source of love, spirit of the lengthening night and dimming light, we come to you and wonder for the blessings of beauty. May we be nourished by the turning of the seasons, the ever-present energy of change. Help us to be nimble amidst the transitions necessitated by life. Guide us toward compassion in the midst of misery. May we work to expand joy, liberation, possibility, and love through every season and amongst all shadows of doubt and fear. Amen, and blessed be.
As we say in our covenant each Sunday, service is our law. UCE is called by our mission, values, and principles to contribute to our community, to form accountable partnerships, and to express gratitude through giving. Today's offering will be shared with the Evanston Reparations Community Fund, the purpose of which is to direct benefits to Evanston's Black community and to heal racism and address harm caused by discriminatory practices. Further, it will help ensure that funding is available for reparations once the City of Evanston's tax revenues for reparations are no longer available. You can learn more about UCE's campaign to support reparations at the Black after the service or by visiting the website through the QR code found on the postcards in the lobby. If you are joining us from home or the building, you may text to give, mail in a check, or give from our website. If you write a check, please indicate in the memo line if your check is for the shared offering or some other giving. If you are in the sanctuary, the ushers will pass the collection. Ushers, please come forward. Please give as generously as you are able, and may what you give bring you joy.
Thank you. Bless this mess. Praying for common ground at the Christmas dinner table. The prayer is what tripped us up. It was the first Christmas my wife and I hosted at our home, and for a good 10 minutes, our two families stood around the dinner table arguing about how to thank God for the meal we're about to eat. My mother, a born-again Christian, wanted our prayer addressed to Jesus. It was Christmas after all, and we were celebrating Jesus' miraculous birth. Shouldn't we at least pray to him? She asked sheepishly. My little sister, a devout Muslim, loves and admires Jesus as a prophet and messenger of God, but she has no intention of praying to him. She adjusted her hijab and mumbled a shahada under her breath. I confess there is no other God but God. As a kind of talisman to protect her against my mother's heresy. My middle sister, a militant atheist, was supremely annoyed with the entire spectacle. She found it hard to believe. We were standing around at the dinner table watching the food get cold as we deliberated which imaginary deity we should pray to before we could start eating. Why don't you just pray to Santa Claus? None of the other families found that funny. My wife's family, evangelicals from Pittsburgh, was mostly confused about why we were serving rice and shish kebabs with our Christmas turkey and mashed potatoes. And finally, my wife came up with the idea, why don't we let Reza decide? She suggested volunteering me to be the referee of the prayer match. I suppose her suggestion made sense. I am a scholar of religions who has dedicated his life to studying the faith traditions of the world and then teaching those traditions to the people who do not share them. For me, the first Christmas at the Aslan household was practically field research. As I watched these people from diverse religious and cultural association backgrounds navigate a holiday with quite specific religious and cultural associations, I was tempted to pull out my notebook and begin jotting down a few of my observations. My family is, in many ways, emblematic of the 21st century of America. Multi-ethnic, multicultural, multi-religious. I am a Muslim from Iran. My wife is a Christian from Western Pennsylvania. That may seem as incongruous a coupling, but when we first met, we realized almost immediately that we share the same values and worldview, even though we expressed those things in a different spiritual language. That's all religion is, really. A language made up of symbols and metaphors that allow people to communicate to themselves and to others. The ineffable experience of faith. I already spoke my wife's spiritual language, Christianity. I taught her mine, Islam. And now we are spiritually bilingual. And actually, we're multilingual, considering we are committed to teaching our children all the spiritual languages of the world so that they can choose for themselves which ones, if any, they prefer in communicating their own individual faith experience. But that is also the reason the prayer was tripping us up in the first Christmas together. We were having a difficult time understanding one another's spiritual languages. let alone coming to a consensus on which language to use. It reminded me of a Sufi parable about 4 hungry travelers from different countries who are trying to decide what to buy with the single coin they hold in common. The Persian wants to spend the coin on angur, the Turk on uzum, the Arab inab, and the Greek stafile. Confusion turns to anger as the 4 travelers argue amongst themselves. It takes a passing linguist to explain to them that they are all, in fact, asking for the same thing: grapes. This parable gave me an idea. Let's skip the formal prayer and just tell each other what we're grateful for, I suggested. What are we anxious about? And what we hope for the coming year. We took turns going around the circle, Muslim, Christian, atheist. And as I expected, we ended up expressing similar dreams and similar gratitude for all that we've been given. As with the hapless travelers in the Sufi parable, we realized we were all feeling the same way. We were just expressing that feeling in a different language, different spiritual languages. Once the prayer was settled, it was time to sit down for a traditional Christmas meal of turkey and kebabs.
That was wonderful. Our next song is titled Sivivon. Sivivon is the Hebrew word for dreidel. As many of you know, a dreidel is a small top with 4 sides, not unlike the one I hold in my hand. Also, at the nest, you have you're holding one right there. Yes, nice. I saw you spinning it before. Very nice. And these are used in games of chance during Hanukkah festivals. The translation of the Hebrew text in this piece is, "Little dreidel, spin, spin, spin. Hanukkah is a festive time, a joyous holiday for everyone, for a great miracle happened there." As we sing this piece, you'll hear 1 part, and then 2, and then 3, and then 4. The 4 different parts represent the 4 sides of the dreidel. So basically, in this song, you can think of the choir as one huge singing dreidel. Sivivon.
The Wild Geese by Wendell Berry. Horseback on Sunday morning. Harvest over, we taste persimmon and wild grape, sharp, sweet of summer's end. In time's maze over fall fields, we name names that went west from here, names that rest on graves. We open a persimmon seed to find the tree that stands in promise, pale in the seed's marrow. Geese appear high over us, pass, and the sky closes. Abandon as in love or sleep holds them to their way, clear in the ancient faith. What we need is here. And we pray not for new earth or heaven, but to be quiet in heart and in eye clear. What we need is here.
Christmas, a story of faith and resistance. Christmas today can be largely characterized by two images: the lullaby-fied Jesus and the consumer holiday. Many of the carols we hear in displays we see, whether on cards, manger scenes, or in store windows contribute to this lullaby-fied sense, soft, romantic, and connoting that all is bright, all is white. White, as in beautifully, peacefully snow-covered, but also in the strangely white faces of this Palestinian Holy Family and child. And Christmas today is characterized by the commercial holiday. Giving gifts at Christmas time originates in the story of a 4th century Bishop Nicholas, a resident of the city of Myra in what is modern-day Turkey, who became known for his generosity to a very poor family in his town. However, in today's world, we are called to make Christmas an orgy of consumption. Pull out those credit cards, rack up the bills today, and don't worry about paying them until later. After all, what makes the world go around is money, right? But if we step back for a moment, we see that the story of Christmas is embedded in something more ancient than the story of the birth of Jesus. The writer of Matthew's Gospel stated that the true meaning of Christmas was to be found in the words of the Jewish prophet Isaiah. Isaiah spoke to the people of Judah at a time when they faced the threat of war and defeat, when they feared for their lives and safety. The message of Isaiah to the people was, "This is not a time for fear or despair, but a time for defiance and hope. The child, a simple child, is the sign, the tangible symbol of the fact that you are not alone. This child is a promise that through faith and by standing in resistance, a radically new future is possible." That seems to be the true message of the baby in the manger. Not a sweet, lullaby-fied Jesus, and certainly not a call to material gluttony. Rather, the brown-faced baby Jesus, born as an outcast in a dank, smelly manger surrounded by barn animals and shepherds, the lowest of non-persons in his society, this Jesus, who would, days after his birth, become a refugee in Egypt, and who would later be falsely accused and murdered by the state. This Jesus is not the sweet baby lying gently on glistening strands of golden hay. In this world where immigrants are demonized and funds to assist the sick, the poor, the homeless, and the disenfranchised have been cut, the baby in the manger is an announcement of hope and, at the same time, a call. We are called to be a people who, instead of giving into fear and backing down, take a stand. The baby calls us to be a people who resist evil and injustice, and who engage the struggle for a world of true freedom and justice, a world with the promise of a radically new future.
Kristen, the young lady who was just taken away, is new to our choir, and so we don't know her very well, but I will definitely let you know how she's doing. So, we'd like to invite you to join us in singing parts of this next piece. The choir lyrics and your lyrics will be projected on the screen, and to warn you, at one point, who sings what switches mid-verse. Before we sing this version of the first Noel, I'd like to read what Jonathan Miller, the arranger and lyricist of the additional words, wrote about this. He says, This new setting of a beloved carol was written for the Sounds Good choirs that I helped to lead in the Chicago area. I was inspired to write it after hearing a lecture by Father Gregory Boyle, the visionary founder of Homeboy Industries in Los Angeles, the world's largest gang intervention, rehab, and reentry program. Father Gregory, or G-Dog as he is affectionately known, brought the audience to tears by saying, in essence, that the way to heal people at the margins of society is actually to open our arms so wide that there are no margins anymore. I thought about his words for a long time and decided that I would write a new verse to the first Noel in that spirit. Jonathan goes on to say, I wish you joy as you sing this, and I wish that the intentions in these lyrics become true. The first Noel.
I just want to thank Jonathan Miller for that song. Now I have a reading by the UU minister Kendall Gibbons. The season of anticipation. The season of anticipation is upon us. Whether your hero is Santa Claus or the baby in the manger or Judah Maccabee or even Ebenezer Scrooge. Something's coming. Some festive spirit invades the city, strewing holly and ivy and evergreens in its wake. Even nature contemplates a flattering dust of snow. You can make a chore of it if you choose. Cards to address, lists to check, sidewalks to shovel, presents to buy, relatives to deal with. You can philosophically side with the Grinch and Scrooge, the bah humbug of the whole thing. Such is an honorable tradition, especially for UUs. But the alternative is worth considering. What if we let the season have its way with us, like an eager puppy, bringing us into its embracing spirit in a welter of glitter and pine cones and cookies and jingle bells? Releasing that light in the darkness moment that just might touch something inside of us. Perhaps that still, tender, hopeful, young heart. What if we claim our common humanity in the holiday spirit and allow our sense of wonder to refresh?
as Tom makes his way to the to do our chalice extinguishing, just to let you know that Kristen is doing fine. The paramedics came and checked her blood pressure was a little low. She's going to go home, and we're glad she's doing okay.
As we extinguish the chalice, please join in saying the words on the screen by the Reverend Elizabeth Sale Jones. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Please rise in body or spirit and join in singing our closing hymn, number 235, Deck the Hall, repeating verses 1 and 2.
Gratitude. Let us go making peace, expanding joy and beauty, decking this hall after the service. Don't go anywhere. We have so much fun to have yet. In the spirit of love and the practice of beloved community. So may it be. Thank you, choir. Thank you, Vickie. Thank you, Nadav and Gregory and Jared. Beautiful job.
Nice glasses.